Hello traders, and welcome back to another market update. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the currency market and looking at some technical factors that may lead to some potential setups and things to consider in the currency market. So what we can do is we can start out with Euro USD. Euro dollar here, you can see is actually retesting a significant low here currently. Now we started to see a little bit of a rally here on the daily chart. Now if we drop it down really quick to the 4-hour chart, we can see this a little bit cleaner. You can see we saw a little bit of a bottoming out here. Big question here will be, can we actually get a bounce off of this level, or are we going to break lower? I still think that price likely wants to come down here and retest the previous lows on Euro USD here on the 4-hour chart, and especially on that daily chart. So I'm still looking for those lows to come down and get tested again. I think that is something that's on the radar here. I think that with all this crazy volatility, price is doing a lot of retesting and trying out different levels to see if it can hold. So I'm watching for that, and I think that on the shorter time frames there might be some bearish opportunities to look to get short to ride some of that downward momentum. We will see if we can get it to play out. GBP USD is our next one here, which is getting a nice little bounce here. You can see we shot up and now we're pulling back, and now it looks like price is getting bullish again, and that we could be headed back to that level that we talked about, which is of course the 200 period simple moving average here in blue. Looking for on the daily chart that to be retested again. I think that's very, very possible. And we've also got some levels to think about here in terms of horizontal levels as well. We've got this previous level. We could be headed to retest both of these areas here, maybe in the next week or so. So we will see if that can play out, but I still think that there's bullishness here. A lot of strength here to the upside, getting a little shallow retracement. And this oftentimes can be one of those scenarios. I don't know if it quite got a pullback to the 38.2, but you can see we did hit the 23.6, right? So we do have some potential there for that price to shoot up one more time. A little bull flag pattern potentially forming there. So we'll watch for the breakout there across the tops. That could be a nice little breakout signal. So we'll see what happens. Dollar yen is next. You can see it actually held really nicely off of that 38.2. You see right here. Right, we saw the initial low swing high, right? We saw the pullback, and price held the 38.2 pretty nicely. Now I think we're potentially again headed back to the highs. I think it's very, very likely that price wants to shoot up and continue this bullish pattern that we are seeing, especially with this momentum here. We've got a couple of trials and tribulations along the way where price is shooting up, pulling back, shooting up, pulling back, shooting up, pulling back, and I think the next potential wave is here on dollar yen. So we'll see if that can play out. Next up is gold. Gold is shooting to the upside again here. You can see gaining some nice strength. And again, we are going to be trying to shoot past a key level here right across this zone right here. This is going to be the big indicator. So if we get something like a close here, right, I think there's a pretty good chance we see a nice little opportunity if there's a pullback. Right, so if there is a pullback after this, if we get a nice break above, that could be a beautiful buy in my opinion, and having a target somewhere across the previous highs would be a nice little setup in my mind in terms of a potential trade for XAU USD. Brent crude catching a nice bounce here. You can see we did round out along the bottom. Of course, everybody's got the same question though. How can this hold, or can it hold? Right, oil has been so beaten down. We've seen an incredible drop on oil. Can this rally hold, and can we get maybe back towards the point where we even fill this big gap here? Right, that would be what everybody's watching for. I think there's a couple trades that there might actually be an opportunity on. My favorite of those being a potential breakout here. So let's say that we get price making a move up to this point here. If we get up to this point, we hold, and then we eventually break above, right? I think there's a potential trade looking to actually get long, trading back to close the gap. So that's one trade that I will be interested in looking for here on oil. If we start to see a little bit more bullishness, we'll have to keep you guys updated and talk about that maybe in the next update if we get a little bit closer to that price. Euro GBP holding the 61.8 for the time being. You can see we do have this level here, right? And holding that 61.8 level on the fib retracements. I think it's very possible that this could get a bounce here. Still watching to see what the price action ultimately says. Next up, we've got Aussie dollar here. You can see holding this trend line overall, right? We've been talking about this for a couple of different updates, right? And so watching really, I think that if we can break above this level here, right? A move to this point is very possible. So So I think that we have this kind of short-term bullishness, right? And then that long-term bearishness. That would be my bias here on that pair. Looking for breakout opportunities in the short term, maybe a day trade or a short-term trade to consider. So just something to think about. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you back next time.